afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. So I guess that we are live right here. We're streaming live both on our Facebook group and also our YouTube channel. So we're live. If you're here, just say hello and tell me where you are watching us from. And so that we can go on with our Tuesday Q&A. Today is our Tuesday Q&A. Our Tuesday Q&A happens every Tuesday at 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m. we come in here and we are able to, look at the things that we have, treat one subject at a time, and also get to answer so many questions that come up. So our Tuesday Q&A starts with questions and a lecture actually, and then we get in to now begin to look at the questions. All right, awesome. Temba from Botswana. All right, before we go on, I would like to say, introduce myself for the sake of the very many new people that we've had in TIP in a long time. All right. My name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm a parent coach and an author as well. I'm the convener of the Intentional Parent Group, and I'm also the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. So the Intentional Parent Academy really aims to help parents. That's our aim, to help parents to be better. That's one of the things that we aim to do. And I would like to say that the Intentional Parent Academy really has been here for about 3 years, and here we are. Here we are today, and we're very grateful for it. And I've also been opportune to speak on many fronts. I've been opportune to speak at different platforms, including representing Africa and the US on a global parenting summit that was organized by Facebook. So yes, that is me. And TIP has been here for about 3 years. So you're welcome. We're glad to have you here. Thank you, Ella Desmond. This is so good. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you all. I see you all. So today we're going to be looking at the subject discipline, and we're going to be talking about what discipline is not. If you're just getting here, we would like you to share with us where you are watching us from and just say a hi so that we would see you and we also be able to relate more with you. Thank you so much for joining me this amazing afternoon. Okay. All right. So while we are here, I want us to look at the subject discipline as we are going on. Discipline is an important, interesting topic when it comes to parenting, because a lot of the times it's been found that many times we misinterpret the concept discipline and what it should do, for our children. So I'm going to start this session by looking at discipline itself and what it is that we need to know before we now look at a bit about what discipline is not. And that will help us. Hi, Philip from Lagos. Thank you, Philip Ono. I see you, sir. All right. So we're looking at the discipline that works. So I'm also taking this from some parts of our course. This is just a module in our course, the discipline that works. Is a unit, not a module. All right. So that I'm going to teach this so that we will be able to have more insight. Okay. So the subject of discipline is one that is often misinterpreted. So today we're going to look at that full blown and then begin to dissect it one after the other. Many times parents usually have good intentions. Trust me. Parents have good intentions. Chichi, I see you. Thank you. Parents have good intention. Nobody should comment about my hair. Parents have good intentions, but they ruin it with the process because they lack knowledge. So a lot of the times, your intentions are not enough. Hi, big brother, I see you. Hi, Foster, I see you. And intentions are not enough many of the times. Last weekend, I shared the story about David. David in the Bible. David was loved by God, and David loved God. Everybody knew that. And in fact, when you read through the book of Psalms, or any of the books where David ever appeared, you will see that David was a lover of God. But you know what? David also had good intentions to raise better generations. But David's children didn't turn out to be what every one of us would have assumed that would happen. Why? David had good intentions. David had very amazing intentions. Does it mean that David didn't know what it is that he was supposed to do? Far from it. There's also a line that comes in when it comes to how we parent. Many times we see the skills that we also have, and at some point we just want to give our children everything and we forget. Many times it's not just about having skills, it's also about being in the place where you're constantly reminded that this is what you're supposed to do. So TIP is one of those places. So I will want to establish this. Misbehavior is not just a child's problem. You need to know that. Misbehavior is not just a child's problem. There's also the adult's personality priority that affects the child's misbehavior. That's another topic altogether. It's part of what we also talk about in the full module. So today we're just going to look at what discipline is not. So as we're going to be looking at that, I said I was going to define discipline. And I said the first thing that we need to note is that discipline is not punishment. So very often, of the time, we see ourselves, all right, we see ourselves equating discipline to the forceful, the punishments, the force, and all that. All right. So let me establish this fact: the word discipline, where it comes from. It comes from the word disciplina, which means to teach, to guide, and to instruct. So what it means is that if your discipline is not teaching, is not guiding, is not instructing, then there's something wrong with the definition of your own discipline. So discipline can be anything you call it, but make sure that you have these elements: to teach, to guide, and to instruct. So the key to correcting your child's behavior is giving them the required tool to learn alternative positive behavior, so that they will be able to replace that negative behavior that you do not want them to exhibit. So many times we found ourselves, constantly telling our children what not to do, but never what to do. So our children are committed, and they are also trusting us to be able to show them what not to do. Then to maybe show them what to do instead of just not what to do. All right. So when we look at the word discipline, there's a difference. So discipline actually invokes the thinking brain, while punishment impacts the emotional brain. So when you punish, with a mind of I just want to, deal, that's how we say it. I just want to deal with this child. It impacts the emotional brain. But when you discipline and the discipline is right, what we call the discipline that works, it invokes the thinking brain. It invokes the thinking brain. So that's what we want to do, to be able to invoke the thinking brain of our children. The whole essence is that you punish your child, and a child understands that you need to actually, deal with this. Now, write down this quote. Morality is doing what is right, no matter what you're told. Forced obedience is doing what is told, regardless of what is right. Let me say that again. Morality is doing what is right, no matter what you're told. Forced obedience is doing what is told, regardless of what is right. I'm going to buttress this point with a story. There was a particular story of a young boy, should be his teens, who had gone to school to start up his education. He was in boarding house, and while in boarding house, he actually got to understand that there was sodomy, going around, at that particular boarding school. So because of what he has learned at home, he knew that sodomy was wrong. So he decided I wasn't going to be part of it. So he said to his parents that he was not going to go to that school again. It's an A-list school in the western, part of Nigeria. For those of us who are not in Nigeria, it's an A-list school for the western part of Nigeria. Or we need to be careful how we're saying, oh, just call the names in Nigeria, because now we know that our community is larger and have a lot of people from all over the world currently. So this school, had this, and the boy decided, no, I can't do this. So I need to leave this place. So while the boy was, saying, oh, I need to leave this place, he went home and told the parents, I am not going to be here anymore. I really, honestly need to leave. He couldn't communicate with his parents. Now, let me tell you one of the things that you must note. Connection parenting trumps control parenting. If that boy had some sort of connection with his parents, he would be able to tell them exactly what was going on. But there was no line of communication. So, of course, that made it even more difficult to be able to communicate. So the boy just decided, I'm not going. So the parents thought it was rebellion. He was, why will he just stand up and just decide what he wants to do? Oh, he cannot just say he's not going. They got upset. They got angry. They decided that it was even a psychological issue. Then they brought in, that's how I got to know about the case. They brought in one mentor of mine into the case. And when he got there, he said he had only one session with this boy, and he was able to realize that it was just a case of morality. Is doing what is right, no matter what you're told, and forced obedience is doing what you're told, no matter what is right. So this boy, decided I wasn't going to go back to that school because what was going on there was not right according to what it is that he has learned. But unfortunately, because we like forced obedience, they were forcing this boy to go back to this school without even asking questions. Now, they threatened that they were going to let them. So when he finished talking to the psychologist, the therapist said, well, I was going to tell your parent that this is actually what happened. He said they shouldn't. But eventually the parents got to know, and they felt really ashamed of themselves. Now, when you force your children to do things without thinking them through, then this is what you're going to have. Discipline is not about forced obedience. We want our children to develop lasting sense of morality and responsibility by giving a choice and a voice. And in the process of becoming that person you want them to become in the future. Last Tuesday, I talked about how to create a parenting plan and how to start it off with your value system. And that was where we opened up again our VIP exclusive group for parents. We've shut it down for the year. It's no longer open. We're going to open it again in 2021. So December 2020, we'll open up registration again, and then we take it from there. So there's already a waiting list of parents because we have a limited number of parents we take into that class. So if you want to be part of that annual coaching group, you can reach out to me and join the waiting list, because a lot of people have been reaching out to me to say they want to join that exclusive group. Please, is no longer available for registration. 2020 exclusive group is ended. We shared a thread sometime on Facebook recently. That was before we published the book, The Discipline That Works. We shared this thread on reflecting on how parents felt when they were flogged and the objects and all the objects that were used on them as well. There are a lot of people who said, oh, this kind of object was used on me. Oh, this is what happened to me. The pool that we were able to gather was that some people said they felt humiliated and hated. Some people said during this time, I was told that I should always keep quiet and listen and not talk. Right? Some said my mom beat me for anything. So I kind of got used to it and prepared my mind every single night for beating. So a couple of years ago, I had my siblings come to, apologize. Somebody said it created resentment in me. I hated my parents. Even as adults, even though I understand that they were doing it for my own good, but there's still a part of me that have refused to connect with my parents. Somebody said it was just one bad experience after the other in the hands of cane-wielding masquerade teachers, because I had teachers who were just cane wielders without, having to think. Some said they got spanked for, things they simply didn't even do, just because they were the oldest. There were lots and lots of polls of parents talking about, the things that they did and how they felt as regards discipline that was not the kind of discipline that should, be applied. So number one thing that you will need to note today in this class, one conversation that we don't like to have, and one conversation that TIP stands for, is that using the cane is a quick fix. Oh, yes. You heard it again from me and again. People defend, using the cane. It's fine. A lot of people will tell you, oh, no, you need to use the cane. Oh, after all, we were told in the Bible that that's the rod you need to use. So, but they refuse to actually, one of the reasons why this happened, let me tell you sincerely, I've also been there. One of the reasons why this happened is that we lack the ability to actually control our emotions, and we lack the ability to have other tools to use as regards, parenting, especially when it comes to discipline. So people are not patient enough. They are not committed enough to learn and use other strategies. So we are just very fast. All we need to do is just to do it now, 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 because we do not also understand delayed gratification. There is a part of us that we need to also learn some of these things to be able to parent even a lot more better. I know this is not a popular opinion, but the truth is that using the cane is a quick fix. It's just going to fix it temporarily. I've asked parents who are cane wielders, and I've said to them, a lot of them who are in the academy is big, is robust. Our alumni is running into over 500 students currently. One of the things that, I keep saying and I keep asking is, when you finish using that cane, do you get to use it again and again on the same issue? The answer is usually yes, because parents get to use it again and again because it's just a temporary quick fix. So it works at the moment, and you fix it and that. So one of the things that you need to know today is that hitting a child may stop a problem behavior from the child, especially in your presence, but might not truly correct the behavior. Because many times we flog children and then we're allowed to take over the teaching that we should have done. I've seen lots and lots of people who, stick on to this and say, no, that's what we must do. My question usually is there a better way? If there's a better way, are you willing to try it? That's what I keep asking when I meet parents. Is there a better way? If there's a better way, are you willing to give it a try? Just very recently, a client of mine came crying that she thought her children were well behaved, but that she found out that they were only pretending when she was there because they didn't want to get flogged. So, he said that he took her sister, who came to live with them, to actually see the true color of who their children really were. She said, in her words, this is what she said to me: I've always flogged them when they make mistakes, thinking is working. Please, what else is there to do? And I'm sure this client gave me permission to actually say this. So I'm sure this client is also here. might also be here watching me. The truth is that for you to achieve real connections, for you to achieve real correction and connection, you need to use the discipline that works. It is supportive, it is empowering, and it brings an outstanding, outstanding element to discipline. It also makes you understand the why the act is wrong to the child and guide the child for the child to now develop desirable behavior, which is the outcome that is more endearing. It is more difficult, but trust me, it's more endearing. Whether you are there or not. Many of my clients who are trying to transition from cane wielding to the discipline that works are finding it difficult to understand why I say that I can have the television and the children will not put it on. It is in your ability to develop this desirable outcome. It took me time. I could have decided that whenever they do the wrong thing, I was going to just just hit them and just go. But you know the truth. The truth remains that it took me time. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of commitment. We were committed to it. And it helped us a great deal. So today, people, come in and, they some people just get to me just because they see my children, really, maybe in school or parents of, the schools. Does it mean that they don't make mistakes? No. It only means that we've been able to achieve, results per time using these desirable methods. These methods work. Someone was asking me, so how come during the lockdown, have you not been having issues with the children waking up doing their chores? I said, no, I've not really, and that's the truth. There are a lot of people who are watching me here. I'm sure my mother-in-law will soon be here, and my mom as well. Who are watching me here, who have seen me close up front with what I do when it comes to parents. So to achieve real connection, you actually need to use the discipline that works. All right? So I like the way Praise Fowe put it in his article, in the 7 things you must consider before you beat a child. So instead of saying, okay, so don't beat a child, which is what every one of us is saying in the system, he said, never beat a child for what you have not taught him. That's one. Never beat a child without giving him enough time to assimilate what you have taught him. 3, never beat a child when there is another way to effectively correct the behavior. 4, never beat a child when there is no data to guarantee that beating will correct the behavior. 5, never beat a child when you are angry because you may damage the child. 6, never beat a child without agreeing with him prior to the offense that punitive measure is what they are going to get if they do that. 6, never beat a child without agreeing with, 7, never beat a child without giving him the chance to defend himself and explain the reason behind the behavior. So if you go through these 7 points, you will really see that there's really no reason. There's really no reason to hit a child. All right? There's really no reason to hit a child. So once you run through these checks and you still feel that you need to go ahead and hit your child, oh, by all means, deploy it. But please, note that the fact that your parents beat you doesn't necessarily mean that is that cane that helped you overcome that behavior. The question you should ask yourself is, what is the opportunity cost of this flogging, of this hitting that child? What is the opportunity cost? Did it make you become more confident in your ability? These are the questions you need to ask. Did it improve your performance and curiosity? And did it introduce fear into your life? Did it make you become a better person as a result of their flogging? What exactly is your present adult report card saying compared to your peers in other nations? Have you also become disciplined or have you become domesticated? Another point I want to also tell you to look at is, look at the leadership around you. Every one of them, were they not all beaten? So these are some of the things I would like you to ponder on for you to look at this tool again. I'm not telling you not to beat again, but one critical thing I have noticed is that many of us who have not master the act of effective communication and behavioral change in children, really do not. They flog while hoping that it will correct the behavior. So your problem is effective communication and how behavioral change works. It's not because the cane really, changes the child. So what if you can master a better way of correcting your child that is faster and doesn't destroy the child in any way? Trust me, there is nothing that trumps effective parenting. Nothing. And whenever you see or hear, people like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, which were all here, Bill Gates, and several other folks that are transforming the world, let that instruct us of what is possible when the innocence and curiosity of the child is preserved through effective communication. I like us to really give this a thought. All right? Criminals don't change by being beaten. They change through behavioral change intervention. So thankfully, your child is not a criminal. So why do you need to beat him in the first place? So if your child is royalty, for instance, or a diplomat, how will you correct this child when they go wrong? So if Mr. President, for instance, the president of Nigeria has a child that is erring and decides that I want to give you this child because I want you to help me correct the behavior this child had. And then he says that he's going to install CCTV in your home, all right? So that they can monitor what they are doing. How will you do it differently in raising that child outside of flogging? Will you be forced to learn? If this is committed, job, you were paid, let's say, for instance, 20 million not to flog a child. Will you be interested to learn other ways? I'm sure you bet you will. So now it now becomes what is the value that we place on the child that we are raising? What is the value that we are placing on the child that we are raising? So your greatest win as a parent of a child is who will do the right thing, not even whether you are there or not. I tell parents at the moment you need to be there for things as simple as TV not to be on, then there's a problem with the methods that you have used. Is it that your method are too punitive or they are too permissive? Either way, permissiveness is a no. Trust me, permissiveness has no wings near me in any way. So if you're still hitting your child, it bothers so much on your inability to control your emotions. And your inability to communicate effectively. All right, in Connect to Correct, I shared on how you can get to that point. You can get a copy to learn more. So the truth is that without working on your emotions, you will not be able to achieve so much. Number two, what discipline is not. I've said that flogging a child is only a quick fix. That's not discipline. I've said that number two, discipline is not forced obedience. So some time ago, my children and I visited a friend at their home. We got there and my daughter got into the kitchen. I think my friend is also here watching. My daughter got into the kitchen, where my friend and I were talking, all right, while also trying to make, lunch to ask if we could help with anything. So she just came in. My daughter likes kitchen anyway. Of course, if you follow me on my timeline, you'll see that she's always baking one thing or the other. Today, she's already in the kitchen baking cake as I speak. All right. So my friend asked me, why why my daughter was more interested in helping than watching TV. So my daughter was like, oh, but there's a lot of work to do. I just feel that, I could help. Incidentally, there was no TV in their home at that time. So she wanted to know why my children didn't ask of TV when they got into the home. They just went ahead to play. I've been speaking about screen recently, and I've been raising a voice about screen, how we are keeping our children perpetually on the screen. And I said recently that the skills that your children will need to survive in the 21st century, it's not learned on the screen. It's not learned on the screen. So you need to begin to curtail the screen times that you're giving to your child. That's another topic, for another day. So she said to me that other children walking in and they say, oh, want to watch TV. I had a good laugh. One of the things I have learned, and I've also taught my children is adaptation. Adaptation is a skill for you to use when it comes to discipline. Adaptation. So they understand that wherever they find themselves, it is a mantra in my house. Use whatever that is available to you to make, any place to find yourself to make it awesome. Many parents come to me to ask me how they can make their children gain control over things like TV and other forms of screen. The mistake I see many parents make is thinking that they can use forced obedience to achieve this. Unfortunately, it never works because as soon as you are out of sight, your children will flaunt that rule. What should you do? Teach them delayed gratification. Allow them to engage and explore in outdoor activities. Teach them to do what is right per time, not forced obedience. Forced obedience will teach them to be afraid of you. What you want is not about being afraid of you. It's about doing the right thing. There are times that I found myself wanting where I am not doing what I'm supposed to do, especially as regards the value system that is in home. My children hold me accountable. They come back and they say, Mom, no. Last week I shared the story. Oh, it wasn't in this class. It was a class, a paid class with parents. I shared the story about the book that we read called Bringing Up Boys. It's a book that we read last month in the exclusive parenting, the VIP group for parents. And in that book, Dr. Dobson is the author of the book, and he said something. He said one of those days people had come to visit them, and every one of them, they decided that, oh, these people that have come to visit us, let's keep church today and go with them, to go and ski. And he said they have agreed. He called the both families and they were going skiing, that God will understand it's just one Sunday. He said his son went in and was weeping. So he said he didn't know what was wrong. So he got in and asked him, why are you crying? What's the problem? He said, Dad, for you to compromise on this value, then there's a problem. Because you've taught us that what is wrong yesterday is not going to be, turn out today to become right. And he cried. He said immediately he called the both families and said, well, we know that you guys are here on a holiday. We will go to church. You guys can go skiing. It's fine by us. But we've decided that we're going to stick to what is right, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. If you allow your children hold you accountable, it helps your journey. It helps your journey. So it's important that you're parenting through these processes instead of you just, forming one Lion of the tribe of Judah. And at the end of the day, your children are not actually understanding what they should understand per time. The next thing that you need to know is that discipline is not yelling. Aha! We have talked about yelling, and we are here still talking about yelling. Yelling at your children is pouring out your frustrations on the child. Trust me, it does not teach your child how to behave. Hi, Mom. My mom is here. It does not teach your child how to behave. Instead, it models yelling to your children. Talking about my mom. She's here. And whenever I say, people look at me like I'm saying what is almost impossible. My mom won't raise her voice at you. Yet, you're going to obey. So there are things you actually can do instead of just, constantly yelling and jumping up and down. So imagine two children arguing on a subject matter and it's gone on for 5 minutes. Then you get enough of the argument and then you yell. If you don't keep quiet there, I will be in trouble. Do you know the interesting thing about yelling? Just like hitting the child, it will make them keep quiet and conform just for a while. And yes, at this point, it gives your child some moment of relief. Some moment of relief, thinking that your yelling has worked. Unfortunately, what we never get to understand is that yelling has no long-term positive effect on misbehavior. None. It does not have any long-term positive effect on misbehavior. It's a circle. So what happens is that the children will disagree, argue, You yell, they keep quiet. After a while, they continue. You yell again, they keep quiet. The cycle continues, and sometimes it upsets you, and then you carry out your threats, which is either beating them or doing something. Unfortunately, this only teaches your child that it's okay to argue, provided you haven't yelled or punished them yet. It does not arm your child with the necessary tool to be able to negotiate appropriately. So you can see where the skill is. The skill is not in you yelling. The skill is in you teaching your child the tool they need, either conflict resolution, negotiation skill. The child does not have it. So it means that provided that the child does not have it, the child cannot exhibit it. You can't give what you don't have. The problem is that we don't even know what to teach per time. This is what this course that is starting up in July 17th, the discipline that works. How to teach communicating an effective discipline for the child, for your discipline to work. That's what this course is going to be about. All right, we're going to give more details before we round up the class. The course starts on the 17th of July, and early bird will end on July 10th. That's just in 3 days. So, but unfortunately, like I said, he only teaches your children that it's okay to argue. It's okay to not resolve their conflict in a manner that will be productive. So they keep yelling. They keep yelling. So it doesn't teach them problem-solving skills. Can you see the skills? Can you see the skills that your child will really need to learn instead of your yelling? So yes, yelling can work, just like hitting, but only for a while. Just like hitting, but only for a while. All right. Let me share a very vivid example of what I'm saying. There was a time, some time ago, I went into a salon. The children were yelling, screaming, doing, making noise. They were about my daughter's age. So I was with my daughter and I was talking with her. I think she was reading a book or something. And then their mother, they were just screaming, they were just too noisy. The moment their mother came in to come and correct them, she just yelled all over. She was just yelling. My daughter just looked at me as to say, oh yeah, I know where that's coming from. So it's because their mother has constantly used that as a method. Your children will yell if you are a yeller. It's a circle, very vicious one. You can do this without having to work yourselves out. So you don't yell because your children upset you, no. You yell because you can't control your emotions. And go to our YouTube channel, you're going to find the teaching where we talked about the effects that yelling can have on your health. So apart from that, it doesn't correct any misbehavior, it can also have issues on your health. So your children are not the reason you yell. This is a quote from Connect to Correct. Your children are not the reason you yell. You are the reason. You are also the solution. All right. The interesting thing was that after several yellings from their mom, these girls will stop for a while. And after a while, they will continue again. Sounds familiar, yeah? Very familiar. That's how it works. That's how it works. You need to begin to allow your children to go through the consequences of the things that they do instead of you. You know, what we do is that we take away what it is that the children should go through by our yelling and beating, and then take away that beat. I've seen this occur many times because our brain does not tell us to teach. Many of the times, for instance, a child pours water on the floor. They say, what did you do? Quick, 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 quick. You beat the child, you take the mop and you mop. What have you taught the child? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. At our ongoing course, we're running a course currently called Becoming an Emotional. In fact, we're running 2 courses, walking your child through puberty and becoming an emotionally intelligent parent currently in the academy. And Becoming an Emotionally Intelligent Parent had, I think, over 25 parents currently, and we run it every quarter. I find that 90% of parents who come to me have problem with controlling their emotions. 90%. That's if it's not more. This is, the being on the safe side. Have issues with controlling their emotions. Oftentimes, what I hear is, I really want to get a hold of myself, but I can't. It's not easy. Even when you put a poll in the group, you say, "Oh, I can't help myself. I'm always yelling." Why do you think that happens? You do not have control. The word The active word is your ability to control your emotion. The question is, what are you doing to do that better? In disciplining your children, the first question you need to ask yourself is, if I'm not around to watch my child, will this disciplinary measure still keep them from wanting to repeat the wrong thing? All right. All right. So will it still, especially if they are sure I won't find out? Is a question, is a question you need to ponder on. Let me say that again. If I am not around to watch my child, would this disciplinary action or measure still keep them from wanting to repeat that wrong action? Especially if they are sure I will not find out. Many parents tell me it's not possible to talk to children calmly without yelling. My response is that you have wired your children to only listen to when you yell. That's what you have done. And when you do that, children just get aggressive, get verbally aggressive, physically aggressive. Yelling in general, no matter what context, is an expression of anger in the wrong way. It's an expression of anger. It scares your children and makes them feel insecure. Scares your children can make them feel insecure. Yelling is in the same category that you have also placed hitting. They are quick fixes, they don't solve problem, and then the problem with yelling is that it comes compounded with a lot of things as well. The next point that you need to note is that discipline is not being permissive. All right? Like Irene Bangor will call it guilt parenting. You don't have to feel guilty because you're not around, you want to overcompensate. So you need to allow your children get away with misbehavior because you haven't been around. You have not been around. So it's let me just allow them. Or maybe, or maybe, oh, let me just let these children do what they want. I've traveled, I just came back, I've traveled, I've been away for three months, I've been away for 2 weeks. The children should just, it's okay, let them just do what they want. Is a potentially disastrous approach. As we said, you don't need to hit and yell at your child. I am not for permissiveness. Trust me. In fact, it's a sin around me to be permissive. So you must learn to find solutions that work. Solutions to your child's behavior. Doing nothing is an abuse to your child. Actually, doing nothing when your child does something wrong is an abuse to your child. All right? I shared something about that in Connect to Correct. You will want to actually get that book to see more about that. And I also shared about it, more details in The Discipline That Works. Discipline is not verbal abuse. Now, this point, I really want to talk about it. Don't kid yourself. Verbal abuse, no child benefits or learns from harsh words. Personally demeaning a child, taunting them with criticism, words hurt. Abuse is abuse. It does not matter how you want to look at it. Connect to correct, don't condemn to correct. You see these words, oh, you're always careless. Oh, you just never understand anything I teach you. Oh, you just don't listen. Oh, you can't see anything wrong. You're stupid. You're just dumb. Oh, you're not. Those words are not going to help your child. Are they familiar? These words, are they familiar? Can you relate? I bet you can. This is the everyday line of many parents when their children make mistakes. All I hear is condemnation, not correction. They are two different things. Condemnation, not correction. We actually end up teaching our children that mistakes are not part of being human by doing that. So we are constantly, letting our children, we're constantly showing infallibility without even recognizing that that's what we're doing. I keep saying that one of the roles that you need to play in becoming an intentional parent is that you must remove infallibility. Becoming an intentional parent is the topic I'm going to speak on come the TIP conference. We're only 2 weeks of the TIP conference flyers. We've confirmed all the speakers, 25 speakers, all right. And we're going to have that full blown from 20th to 26th. Don't fail to invite everybody. The flyers will be out by tomorrow, and we're going to put in the registration link and everything that you need to know. And that I will personally be speaking on becoming the intentional parent. Becoming the intentional parent. And part of what I say in becoming the intentional parent is infallibility. Infallibility has no root in intentionality. So the truth is, we are learning what we say. They're learning what to say. So what happened to, you can actually hold that cup, upright position. That way it won't slip. That way you're teaching your child how to actually speak when things are wrong. So all this said, can be at a maximum yell meter of 3. There's something we call the yell meter, and from yelling to calm, our 15-day challenge of walking you from yelling to calm is also one of the courses in the academy, but it's not running this month. Probably will run in August. So when you condemn to correct the child, you lose the child. Unfortunately, Chinyerubina says infallibility is unrighteousness in parenting. I think so too. Thank you for that, ma'am. So unfortunately, when you condemn to correct, you lose your child. So unfortunately, it's a norm in our climate to call children names. It's an unfortunate thing. And if you're not abusive, you look like an ineffective parent. Don't let anybody talk you into doing things that are wrong, because we are striding in a norm that haven't even really brought us anywhere, if you ask me. You're calling your child names. People actually expect you to call your child names when they do something wrong. I don't know where we got that from, but I'm here to tell you that that narrative is faulty. There's something wrong with it. I don't ever, I've never called my children names. Never. I don't. I never liked it growing up. I never, ever liked it. My mom won't. When I see people calling their children names, I cringe. Your uncouth words can actually kill your child, even in their adult life. In one of our courses, Healing from Parenting Hurt, is one of our courses in the academy. Healing from Parenting Hurt. We were talking about how words that were speaking to children, even when they were younger, affected them as adults. Even while they were younger, affected them as adults. You don't know the things that you do and how they affect your child as your child is actually going through their process. I've said this countless times, that the words you speak to your child are going to be the words in their head as adults. What do you want your children to hear? That's a question you need to ask yourself. What words do you want your children to hear? For me, I actually think words are even worse. I would even prefer that you hit a child and you speak uncouth words to a child. Honestly speaking. So abuse must not be physical. These things can kill a child into their adult world. And when parents were sharing some of the things that happened to them in the Healing from Parenting Hurt class, it's one of our most sensitive course ever. That's why you didn't see anything shared around here. We have reviews, we have all sorts, but a lot of the things that were shared in that class can't be in public. So we decided to keep that class as put it there and let it just be. So we're going to be able to share a few reviews, but the things in that class were overwhelming. All right, parents, you need to work on you. You need to work on you. You need to really understand that you are that model that your child is looking at. There are too many things that discipline is not. I'm going to share the last one before we begin to give you the modalities of everything that you also need to know. Discipline is not an assumption or an accusation trial. Discipline is not an assumption or an accusation trial. Yes, it is something that we are constantly, dealing with. Discipline is not an accusation trial. I'm going to throw an example of this. We all make assumptions. It's only human, yes. But many times our assumptions come from somewhere, and our brains jump, on them for good reasons. Assumptions are intuitive. Trying to help us make sense of situations is okay. But if you jump into conclusion too soon, your assumptions may leave your child feeling hot, angry, defensive, when really what your child needs from you at a set time is support, time, space to work out things on themselves. So as you attempt to discipline effectively, you must do them with facts, or else you're going to breed resentment in the child and even make the child rebel. So someone shared something sometime in the group, and we also had the permission to publish. In fact, she gave me the permission to publish it in my book, The Discipline That Works. I'm going to read this to you, very heart wrenching, so that we understand what it means not to assume. He said, I was 14 years old at the time, and my dad had just come back from London with PG top tea, different flavors. So I took some to school. You know how it is to share with my friend. Then the next day, my classmate brought a lemon flavored tea to share. I liked the aroma. So I did not know that the girl in my class went to tell my mom that I was doing abortion with lemon in school. So my mom reported to my dad without anything. They were not even asking me anything. I was just 14. Poor me. I didn't know what abortion, you know, I didn't know what abortion is. I didn't know what abortion is. At this time, my parents, I just heard my mom telling my dad that I had gone to school to do abortion and all that and all that. You know, my dad just came out and started beating me. He brought out machetes. He told me that, he was going to cut off my hand. She said at that time she was thinking, what did I do? I don't even understand what's going on. So she said they beat her. She said that incident, that thing has never left her head. She said it made her hate her father. Was her father an amazing father? Yes, he was. But her father assumed and got it all wrong. And got it all wrong. I would like to also share this last one before I leave. Oh, there are too many things to say. Discipline is not shaming a child. When you shame a child as a tool for discipline, I won't go into this. If you're in the class, you'll be able to hear me talk about this in depth. When you shame a child as a tool for discipline, you lose connection, you lose communication. When there is no connection, true and lasting correction can never be achieved. Let me say that again. When you shame a child as a tool for discipline, you lose connection, you lose communication, and when there is no connection, true and lasting correction can never be achieved. Never. So when you say, oh, I'm just shaming the child, why? For what? Discipline has nothing to do with shaming the child. When you shame a child as a disciplinary tool, you lose connection, you lose communication. And when there is no connection, true and lasting correction can never, the word is never, be achieved. Is there a way to do this? Yes. This course model, the discipline that works, creating effective discipline that will actually help your child become better, has 10 different modules to it. I tell you, this is one of the courses because it's something I'm passionate about. This is my niche, discipline. When it comes to discipline in children, I go in head on with my whole body in it. What kind of discipline works? That's the question you want to ask yourself. In that class, we're sharing 10 different tools of the kind of discipline that actually works. And we're going to actually also be giving you, projects. You can ask the parents, we have 58 parents who are currently taking the course, walking your child through puberty. And the projects are overwhelming, interesting, and it is opening their eyes to different things. Our courses have projects that you can do practically and be able to begin to practice some of those tools that they're sharing. And we're also going to be sharing with you proven, statistics that will also help you, and tools and techniques that I have practiced over the years, that I have also taught parents to practice. We've been privileged to raise a foster daughter who is currently about to get married, and then we also have a set of twins that is 10. We've used this method and we've been able to have results. One of the reasons why I started this journey was when we were presented with the opportunity to actually parent our then teen daughter. She had just we've just gained a teen daughter, and we didn't know what to do. And I knew that we did not understand what to do. That was how I started this journey, to be able to gain knowledge. If you do not gain knowledge on this journey, you are going to struggle. This class is for 15,500, but we are giving an early bird offer that ends in only 3 days. That's on the 10th of July. It's going to, the early bird offer is 10,500. If you can enroll for this class, trust me, enroll for it and begin to walk the journey of being able to understand exactly what to do as regards discipline and how it works, so that we can all come together. Our team is to be able to raise a better nation using parenting. That's what it is, right? So that we can all work together to be able to, get this right. And also, for the records, this class will also run in the academy. And the academy is the intentionalparentacademy.com. It's going to run in the academy, so you can self-pace it. So, we're just going to have a discussion around it and also have a few live classes, but you can self-pace it, and they are all video courses. You don't need to just keep reading. There are video courses that you can go through, just listen and watch the slides and look at the things that you need to pick. So it's easy to go through as well. There are 10 modules that you need to cover. Might take you like, a week or two, or can take you longer if you decide to, keep taking it, that long. But one thing is very, very, very reassuring, that when you start this journey in TIP, I have a lot of people that are TIP Academy alumni that are here watching me today. And when you start this journey, we can assure you of change. You will see visible change that you begin to work with. And one of the things that I also say to parents is that if you can't start by taking the courses, these courses are they are like, oh, okay, some of us can spend this money buying pizza now. I remember when I used to buy pizza before my daughter started making pizzas. Oh yes, my daughter makes pizzas at home. So my daughter now makes pizza sizes, different sizes. The biggest sizes of pizza is like 10K. We buy it now. You have to buy it. You have to buy it so that everybody can eat. But it all depends on what you hold dear and what your value systems are. I've been talking about this. What do we want to put in as regards raising these children? So if you know that it's important for you to get this right, it's important for you to understand, what discipline that truly works, then you will want to enroll for this course. So this course gives you the leverage also to also become part of the Alumni Academy as well, where you also have perks. You also have discounts on other things that we have, and also have free classes as well. The free classes we do for the Alumni Academy is different from what we do here. So, why you think that, in the general group, that there's a lot of value. So imagine what the kind of value that is in the academy itself. The value is just awesome. So you need to, take on this, quest and begin to actually walk your journey. So if you want to register for that course, the details will actually be right on this post, so that you can reach out to us and register. This early bird offer ends on the 10th, and we're not going to move it. After the 10th, everybody who registers will pay 15,500. Everybody who registers between now and the 10th will pay 10,500. And we have a minimum number of 20 parents to take. Currently, I don't know the number that we have currently, but we have quite a number of parents that have already registered for this class. So if you register, just like the VIP exclusive class, there were people that we had to return their money. If you register, and we usually don't like to be overburdened. So if you register and it's either you wait for the next cohort or we will refund you. So please, if you want to be part of that class, reach out to us and let us know. And again, I also want to say that I've announced that before, that the TIP annual conference is coming up. The TIP annual conference is usually exclusive. Yes, last year we had 21 coaches from all over the world. This year we are having 25 coaches. These 25 coaches are bringing their A game. We're going to also be streaming, as we stream on our YouTube channel. We're also going to be streaming live into this group. One thing we want you to do is to invite people so that they will be able to register for this conference. We want to change the narrative. That is why we have created content at different levels that can help parents. One of those things that we've also done to be able to give back to our community is to create the TIP annual conference. So the TIP annual conference is what we do annually. So let me check if there are questions so that we will answer it and begin to round up. All right. Thank you so much. I can see lots of comments. Oh, Linda Munali said, it's been you all along. How didn't I know you were my senior? I know GSS. Oh, really? Interesting. Thank you, Linda. It's good to meet you here. All right. I'm trying to look for the questions. If you have questions, please, you can ask. You can ask so that we can respond to your questions. All right. Chidoka said, thank you. Very enlightening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me again this afternoon. It was always a privilege to be able to talk to lots of parents, and it's something that I hold really dear. If you ask anybody, I love talking to parents. It's one of my superpowers. So if you have questions at all, you can ask in the comment section, or you can type it when we've ended this video. We've already done 3 minutes, 1 hour, 5. Someone says, how can I tell a 7-year-old what sex is about? 7-year-old. In fact, there's a lot to learn when it comes to telling a 7-year-old what sex is about. I will advise you. The first thing you need to do is to get the prerequisite lessons on sex education. There's someone I know that can help you do that. Chinyere Bina. I'm sure Chinyere Bina is also here watching. You can contact her so that you can go through it, because walking your child through puberty class that we have doesn't teach you the fundamentals. So you will need to learn the fundamentals, really, so to say. Okay, so I don't think I can see any other question. I think this is, okay, Omotola says thank you for the session. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and do have an amazing afternoon.